Welcome to another Math Ninja Pro video.
In this video, we are going to look at more challenging examples of how to use the special algebraic identities to help us do expansion. So let's look at the first example over here. We have y minus x over 2 whole thing squared. Now let's compare this with our special algebraic identity. Can you identify that this is similar in structure to a minus b whole thing squared? So what's our a here? It is actually y, and what's our b here is actually x over 2. So if we were to use the second special algebraic identity to help us expand, we are going to get a squared, which is simply y squared, minus 2 times a, which is y, times b, which is x over 2, plus b, which is x over 2 squared. So let's simplify this. Y squared minus 2 times y times x over 2. Now let's see how we can simplify this. 2 is the same as 2 over 1. So this 2 and this 2 over here in the denominator, right, will cancel each other out. So what are we left with? We are just left with x times y, or y times x, which is simply xy, plus, now how do we expand this fraction x over 2 whole thing squared? We simply square the numerator, which is x squared, and square the denominator, which gives 4. So our final answer is y squared minus xy plus x squared over 4. Since there are no like terms, we cannot simplify any further. Let's look at the next example. At one look, this certainly does not look like any of our special algebraic identities, but if you take a closer look, you will see that here x plus 1 times x minus 1 really looks similar in structure to a plus b times a minus b. So therefore, we can use the third special algebraic identity to help us simplify the first part, because we can see here that our a is simply x and our b is simply 1, right? So let's try to simplify the first part using the third special algebraic identity. That would give us a squared, which is simply x squared, minus b squared, which is simply 1 squared, right? So this part, x squared minus 1, is actually the expansion of x plus 1 times x minus 1. So what do we do with x plus 2? Let's just copy it down first. And here we can see that we have x squared minus 1 times x plus 2. Observe that it is not like any of the special algebraic identities, right? So what can we do to expand? Let's go back and use what we have already learned, which is the distributive law, to help us expand this. Right, so we can use distributive law and we can expand x squared times x to get x cubed, x squared times 2 to get 2x squared, negative 1 times x to get negative x, and negative 1 times 2 to get negative 2. Let's check. There are no more like terms, so therefore our final answer is x cubed plus 2x squared minus x minus 2. Let's move to the third example. Again, if we compare this third example with our special algebraic identities, we can see that the first part is certainly not like any of the special algebraic identities. But let's look at the second part. We can clearly see that y plus 2 whole thing squared is similar in structure to our first special algebraic identity, a plus b whole thing squared. So let's try to expand this. Alright, the first part, we cannot use any special algebraic identity, so therefore the only way is to go back and use what we have already learned, which is the distributive law, to help us with the expansion. So this first part would give us 2y times y, which is 2y squared, plus 2y times 3, which is 6y, minus y, which we get from negative 1 times y, and minus 3, which we get from negative 1 times 3. Right, so that's the first part of the expansion. Then we have to subtract. Now we are going to use our special algebraic identity, the first one, alright, to expand y plus 2 whole thing squared. And we can see here that our a is y and our b is 2. So if I were to expand this, alright, I'm going to get y squared, which is simply the a squared, plus 2 times a times b, which is simply 2 times y times 2 plus 2 squared. Okay, let's try to simplify by collecting the like terms. Here we can observe that we do have some like terms. Okay, we have 6y minus y, which we can further simplify to 5y. And if we simplify what's inside the bracket here, we have y squared plus 4y plus 4. Okay, so now let's remove the bracket. To remove the bracket, we simply distribute the negative sign to every single term in the bracket. So that will give us negative y squared minus 4y minus 4. Now let's see if we can spot some like terms. Okay, I think there are definitely like terms. We have 2y squared minus y squared. That would give us 1y squared. We also have 5y minus 4y. So that would give us plus y. And finally, if we look at the constants, we have negative 3 minus another 4. So altogether, that will give us negative 7. So our final answer is y squared plus y minus 7. Alright, so just remember that because you are subtracting the entire y plus 2 whole thing squared, that is why we need the brackets over here to say that we are subtracting this entire expanded form, y squared plus 4y plus 4.
Remember to like, subscribe, and keep coming back for more Ninja level math videos.